How many times have you heard this? What's your testimony? Or, even worse, if you don't have a testimony, maybe you aren't really saved. This has crushed so many people. They feel disheartened because they don't have a dramatic story of being tormented or addicted or demonized. And honestly, many end up making one up just to fit in. But the truth is this: there was never such a thing as my testimony. There was only one true testimony, the testimony of Jesus Christ, witnessed in that generation. Revelation chapter 19 verse 10 says, "The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy." That is what the apostles bore witness to, not themselves, not their personal stories, but Christ and his work. So let's ask, who truly needed to be born again? In John chapter 3 verse 7, Jesus said, "You must be born again." He wasn't speaking to the whole world. He was speaking to Israel, his covenant people. They were still separated from God under the law. To be born again meant being transferred out of darkness into light. Colossians chapter 1 verse 13 says, "He has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us into the kingdom of the Son of his love." 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9 says, "You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." This was about the bride, the lost tribes scattered among the nations, being called, gathered, and sealed as his own. And when the last trumpet sounded, Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 51 and 52, "We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed." That is when they receive the new body that was promised. This is why I cannot accept stories of people who walk with God still being tormented by demons. Hebrews chapter 2 verse 14 says, "Inasmuch then as the children have partaken of flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared in the same, that through death he might destroy him who had the power of death, that is, the devil." Colossians chapter 2 verse 15 says, "Having disarmed principalities and powers, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them in it." Satan was bound, judged, and cast down. Demons and Satan may still attack men, but they have no legal power over those who belong to God. James chapter 4 verse 7 says, "Therefore submit to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." And this brings us to the bigger issue. The word Christian itself has been twisted. Acts chapter 11 verse 26 says, "And the disciples were first called Christians in Antioch." That word was not a badge of honor. It was a mocking label. And how not surprising that the same Roman and rabbinic system that hated Christ and mocked him went on to create a religion called Christianity, a religion that now deceives millions. Instead of resting in the finished work of Christ, people are told they must go through endless deliverances, rituals, and fears. Instead of pointing to Christ's testimony, they point to their own story. But the gospel was never about your story, it was always about his. 1 John chapter 5 verses 11 and 12 say, "And this is the testimony, that God has given us eternal life, and this life is in his Son. He who has the Son has life. He who does not have the Son of God does not have life."
Truly I tell you, some who are standing here will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
He's talking to the generation of people who will experience those things.
Greg, she thinks Jesus was talking to people who weren't there.
She thinks Jesus was talking to her.